Okay, when I was a beginner, I loved seams. And the reason is because all my crooked and ugly stitches were hidden on the inside. Hello everyone, my name is Srinidhi and I believe you shouldn't have to change your body to fit your clothes. You can change your clothes to fit you. And a great tool to do that is hand sewing. So I'm doing a series on how to hand sew. If you want to see my other video on how to hand sew, I've linked that up here. This is a video for beginner sewers. So if you're interested in hearing what is a seam, how do you hand sew one, and where do you use it, then stick around. So the materials that you need for this are a needle, thread, chalk, a ruler, some pins, fabric scissors, and optional, a pair of shears, which look like scissors except they cut in a zigzag line. To see a full list of the materials I recommend, go check out my video which I've linked up here. So what is a seam? Well, really, a seam is anywhere where two pieces of fabric meet. So think where the front of your shirt meets the back of your shirt, where your shirt meets your sleeve. Well, I don't have a sleeve, but imagine. Or where the front of your pants meets the back of your pants, where the right side of your pants meets the left side of your pants. Look at all those spots and you'll see a line. That is the seam. Now you'll notice that you can't really see the stitching on the outside. However, turn the clothes inside out. Yeah, go ahead, take them off and turn them inside out. I'll wait. Or just find other clothes, that's fine too. You'll notice that you can see the stitching when it's inside out, but when you turn it right side out, it looks clean. So how do you make a seam? Well, since we saw the stitches were on the inside, you're always gonna start with your clothes inside out. Then line up the edges of the two pieces of fabric that you're sewing together. Pin them in place. Now this is a step that I always skipped when I was a beginner, and it's what made my stitches look so bad. Take a ruler and draw a line that's a ½ inch away from the edge of your fabric. Draw this in chalk because chalk comes off in the wash. Now you're going to sew on this line using either a running stitch or a back stitch. If you don't know what those are, check out my video here where I show you how to make them. But really, I recommend a back stitch because a running stitch is kind of weak. So basically, you sew a single stitch, and then instead of going forwards for the next stitch, you go backwards first, and then you go forwards. So you're making tiny little loops in your fabric that look like this. And those loops keep your stitches more secure than if you had just weaved front and back like that. Does that make sense? Kinda? If it doesn't, go ahead and watch that video because then it will make sense. You're gonna make your stitches all the way across the line that you drew. Once you get to the end, just tie it off about 3 or 4 times and then cut off the thread. Now, you're not quite done yet. You're almost done, but you're not quite done. So you see the raw edges that are on the side? Those are going to fray over time. And if you leave them unfinished, they'll begin to fray to the point where they will start breaking apart your stitches. So you're going to prevent the edges from fraying by cutting little triangle snips into the edge. I recommend, if you want to make a smart investment and save time, buy yourself a pair of shears. Shears look like scissors, except they cut in a zigzag line. Now, if you've graduated from hand sewing and you're using a sewing machine, then you'll notice that people zigzag stitch on the edge instead of zigzag cut. And you can definitely do that if you use a sewing machine, but it just takes a bit of extra time when you're hand sewing, and your zigzag cut will do just fine. If you're working with jersey knit fabric, which is the fabric on most t-shirts, then they don't fray, so you don't need to do this step. But for most other fabrics, you do. So there you go. That's the full step-by-step process on how to make a seam. The game changers in this are pinning your fabric and drawing a straight line where you want to sew. Those are the two things I would skip when I was a beginner, and they cost me. Trust me, they cost me. If you're curious what I was sewing to my jean pockets, I was extending the pockets to be longer. And if you want to see the full tutorial for that, I've linked it in the upper right hand corner. It's very beginner friendly and very useful. Be patient with yourself because it does take time, but the nice thing is all the stitches are hidden on the inside. So in the beginning, when they're going to be crooked and kind of ugly, people don't have to know. And once you've got that down, you can apply that anywhere that you have a seam. The side of your shirt, the side of your pants, where your shirt meets your shirt sleeve, anywhere where two pieces of fabric meet. Now, when you have the edge of a fabric, such as the edge of your sleeve, and you want to finish that off, that's called a hem. And if you want to see how to make a hem, let me know and I will link that video up here. Like if you like this video, subscribe if you want more do-it-yourself fashion and tips, and I will see you next time. Bye!